Meditation and Spiritual Life, Swami Yatiswarananda. Testimony of Great Saints. In the higher forms of Christianity, Buddhism, and Hinduism, great stress has been laid on the observance of perfect brahmacharya in thought, word, and deed. You find it in the Sermon of the Mount, in the Vinaya Pitaka of Buddhism, in the Upanishads, in the Gita, and in the Bhagavatam. A socially accepted form of moral life alone is not enough for a spiritual aspirant. He must attain perfection in moral virtues, especially chastity. He must totally control his sex instinct. The great mystics of the world always gave the highest importance to chastity. The words of Brother Giles, who was originally an illiterate peasant, but who later on became one of the foremost disciples of Saint Francis of Assisi, are to be remembered by every sincere spiritual aspirant. It's a very beautiful book by Saint Francis of Assisi. Amongst all other virtues, I would set the virtue of chastity first, because sweet chastity contains all perfection itself, but there is no other virtue which can ever be perfect without chastity. Chastity is, in strict truth, the careful and continual custody of our corporeal and spiritual senses, in order to preserve them pure and immaculate for God alone. Every vice troubles and obscures the fair glory of holy chastity, for it is like a bright mirror which is clouded and darkened not only by contact with impure and defiling things, but by the mere breath of man. It is impossible for man to attain to any spiritual grace so long as he is inclined to carnal concupiscence, and therefore, whithersoever thou turn thyself, thou shalt never be able to attain to spiritual grace until thou canst master all the vices of the flesh. Therefore, fight valiantly against thy frail and sensual flesh, thine own worst enemy, which wages war against thee day and night. And know that he who shall overcome this mortal enemy of ours has most certainly defeated and discomforted all his other enemies, and shall attain to spiritual grace and every degree of virtue and perfection. Brahmacharya is undoubtedly the first thing required in spiritual life, and people who are not prepared to observe perfect continence in thought, word, and deed will never be able to remain on the higher plane, even if they obtain some glimpses of higher truths. They will fall down again and again, and the highest realization and the higher forms of spiritual life can never be attained by them.